So let's get a few housekeeping issues out of the way first. My name is Jeff Wiener. I'm the president of Digitcom. And over here is Ivan Cohen. And Ivan's a senior executive with Digitcom. Ivan's been with Digitcom for
7 years.
7 years.
Seems like time.
And Digitcom's been around since 1991, so we're 22 years in the business. So a few words about Digitcom before we get started. So we're one of the larger privately held interconnects in Toronto. We service the Canadian marketplace. We have offices and representatives across the country, so Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa. We service coast to coast, the entire country. We sell, of course, the Avaya IP Office product. Before we get started, just a show of hands so I have a sense of who we're talking to. How many of you in this room are familiar with the Avaya IP Office product already? Oh wow, a lot of you. Thanks, Ivan. How many in this room have an IP Office product running already? Okay. And how many of you have a technical background? A lot of you. And how many of you have an older Nortel Norstar phone system? Good, so there's some good news for you as well. And curious, how many of you are in the telecom industry? Okay, so here's how we're going to do things this morning. So Ivan and I are going to trade off. We're going to go back and forth. I'll do a few minutes, Ivan's going to do a few minutes. Then we'll leave the last few minutes of our presentation. Someone from Avaya is going to speak about Digitcom. We have one of our clients, the Griffin Center, and in particular, Jonathan Berg will say a few words about their experience with Avaya.
We're talking about resiliency. Everybody's concerned now about stability, resiliency. So the Avaya IP Office system, in the example you see on the screen here, use System A, which might be at one location, System B, which could be either at the same location or a separate location. And the two systems talk to each other. So when you add a new user in System A, System B already knows about it, and vice versa. They share users, hunt groups, IP extensions. To have full resiliency, it must be IP. Digital sets are not resilient. Within 3 minutes, System A is going to take over responsibility for all those sets, and now System A, as you can see from the chart, is now controlling all the sets, both those belonging to System B and those belonging to System A and System B. So once System B is restored, the system administrator can then decide when he's ready to turn control back over to System B. So moving into the server edition, now this is a 1U device in a rack. In 1U you have 500 users, 250 registered SIP trunks, up to 500 users, 100 voicemail ports, 200 active 1X portal ports, 128 conference channels with a maximum of 64 in any one conference. And there's a smaller version, which is the DL120, supports half that, 250 users at 100 1X portals. So that's the primary server. When you add the secondary server, again, the 128 conference channels, redundant messaging, etc. Fully backupable using a web portal. And 2U, think about this for a second, 2U in a rack for 1,000 users and 500 trunks. Everybody remember this? So now we're looking at 20 lines and 128 digital extensions. We've come a long way, haven't we? So if you are a current Norstar user, you want to migrate to IP Office, you can reuse your M-series sets, your T-series sets, and the 1120 and the 1220 IP sets. In addition to those sets, there's a whole range of new Avaya sets. There's the 9500 series. Now, the difference between these and the Norstar sets is these are all LCD display designated, which means a key can do multiple things. When you have a paper tape or a keycap designating what that key does, usually that key is only going to do one thing. In the 9500 series, you're looking at full LCD display, multiple screens, so the phone you see on the left, which shows 4 buttons, is actually a 12-button set. So nice size set, small footprint on the desk, 12 user keys, but those user keys also become call logs, read dials, speed dials. So that's in the digital line, and the 9508 you see growing on your screen right now is also available in an IP format. If you do like the paper tape style, there's a value line called the 1400 digital and 1600 series IP. That's the ones you see there now. And then there's a nice high-end range of IP sets. 10100, 10100 gig pass-through. So if you only have a single drop and you want to go to IP at the desk, you can still use an IP set, plug your computer into the phone into the wall, put the phones on a separate VLAN so you don't have quality issues. These screens have wideband audio, color screens, touch screen, tiltable displays, whole host of features, a great line of IP sets to complement your new IP office.
Server Edition came out a few months ago. So Server Edition, it has been launched with release 8.1. So, and there is a migration, sort of. You can go from 8.0 to 8.1. If you have Preferred Edition, you can do that. Server Edition is sort of a different product, very similar programming or same programming interface, but it is a different product. So I'll touch on that a little bit later, but I want to come back to some of the applications that are included with IP Office. So for those of you that have been running IP Office for a while, mobile twinning at one time required a license. So for every user that wanted mobile twinning, you had to buy, there was a code that you had to buy from Avaya or through Avaya that enabled a mobile twinning client. That is no longer the case. Mobile twinning is now included with IP Office. I think as of release 7.0, you get a mobile twinning client. So what is mobile twinning? It's been around for a long time on the IP Office, so if you currently have the system and you're not running it, let me explain. So mobile twinning will allow you to twin your desk phone to your cell phone. Show of hands, how many of you that have the IP Office are running mobile twinning? So very few of you. Good, so let me explain. So you call your desk, you answer your cell phone, your desk stops ringing. You answer your desk, your cell stops ringing. Now you can answer your cell, walk back to your desk, press a button, pick up the phone, and you're still engaged in the same call. You can actually be on your desk phone, press your twinning button, your cell phone rings, and you're still engaged in the same call. And you can toggle back and forth between the two devices. You can also, while you're on your cell phone, you can hit ** from your cell phone. So call comes in, twins your desk, answer your cell, hit **, and you can transfer to another user in the office. And you can do that in one of two ways. Blind transfer, so you're talking to a customer, you say, hey customer, I'm going to transfer you to our service rep. **, blind transfer, just send the call off, or an announce transfer. So you're on your cell phone, you hit **, call the other extension number. Oh, one other neat thing. So from my cell phone, and this is also included with the system, I can dial into a predefined number on my system. It will recognize my cell phone number based on call display, give me internal dial tone, and I can now dial different extensions inside the building, or I can dial external long distance or local phone numbers if I need to. It requires a license. So what I have running on my iPhone, it's called 1X Mobile, or the other one, there's another application called 1X Portal we'll touch on in a second. 1X Mobile is an application that sits on your Android or your iPhone, and it will allow you, Ivan, you have it on your Android, right?
I do.
Okay, so it will allow, it's an actual application, and you could make calls from the application itself. You can create conference bridges. You could get the status of users in your system, so who's busy, who's on the phone, who's not. What else can you do?
Call log.
And like I said, this piece here requires a license. So built into the IP Office, you know how you, in many organizations, you do conference calling. So this feature and application is built into the system, is the ability to create internal or inbound conference bridge calls. So what happens is you could define a phone number or a DID and say to your users, call our phone number 416-222-5000, and when it answers, you'll hear, thank you for calling company ABC or Digitcom conference bridge. Please enter your conference bridge number now. User enters 123. Please enter your password 456. The system has built into it 128 ports of conferencing. There aren't too many products out there that actually include this as part of their offering. IP Office is one of them. So you can have maximum